Hey there everybody, welcome to my next video on the Quad Cortex. In this video I would like to go over the reasons why you should get a Quad Cortex or an equivalent modeler in 2023. For those of you that don't know and may have only just come across this, this is the Quad Cortex. Quad Cortex has been out for a few years now. I have made just some smaller additions to it, so we just have the mushroom head buttons just to protect the push buttons on here. They also twist as well, and you can use them to change the amp setup and change your setup on the big screen here. I also have added a iPad screen protector too on there. But yeah, this is the Quad Cortex. Basically, you plug your guitar in, you can go out to multiple outputs, and it turns a full-sized rig into something that's just bigger than a laptop. But yeah, that's the Quad Cortex. So reason number one why the Quad Cortex would be a good purchase for 2023 is that it's just recently been updated. We now have Core 2.0 on the system, upgrade from the Core 1.4 system that we were, I guess most of us were running last year. And basically what we get in that is a couple of new things. First of all, we get hybrid mode. That's the main talking point, I guess, for people who have downloaded it and are using it. And basically, for these of you, again, that weren't too sure, we had scene mode where we could get different amps and pedals and volumes and effects to come on all at once, just with one press of a button. We had stomp mode where we just use it like a traditional pedal board, and then we also had preset mode where you could set up several different presets and then just using the buttons tap through the presets. With hybrid mode, we now have a blend of two of those options put together on one screen as such. Now it is a global setting, so it will mean that all of your settings will have maybe stomp mode at the bottom and scene mode at the top, or presets at the bottom and stomp mode at the top, however you want to set it up. But yeah, it was a user request. Neural DSP came through and they gave us hybrid mode. A couple other things that we got as well. We got the John Petrucci Mesa Boogie amp, which is really cool. It even has the Mesa Boogie EQ section after the fact, which is a pretty nice touch. And then we also got 893 different captures as well. So not only did we get a new amp that has all the sort of effects that we can do with it, but we also got a bunch of new captures too. There was also some updates to devices that were already in there. So some of the diesel amps got updated, a couple of other amps as well got updated, which is really cool. And then there was a couple of other things that just got sort of fixed or changed. So the directory got changed. We also saw some updates to the online ability to download from the Cortex Cloud. That changed a little bit. So all in all, I think it was like a pretty good upgrade. Again, it's free, so you know, you buy the Quad Cortex and you get this new system for free, which is pretty cool. Now, the second reason why I think Quad Cortex's purchase is a good idea for 2023 is that there is currently no marketplace. Now, I've seen a lot of creators of these presets and that kind of stuff come through and say that this is a bad thing, that there's no marketplace and therefore the Quad Cortex won't survive, or it won't, you know, do well, or until the marketplace is fully, until a marketplace is actually in place. However, as a consumer, I think it's a great idea to not have a marketplace. So many of our devices nowadays, and so many things that we sign up for are all require subscriptions or some kind of payment and purchase, and you buy the thing that you bought and then you have to buy more stuff for it. And whilst that's true with some of these things, like, I mean, I bought this, it cost me $2,700, and then I went out and bought a new speaker, and now I'm thinking I need another guitar, because who doesn't? But yeah, the cool thing about it though is that, like, I can go in and play around with a bunch of presets and that kind of stuff, but also what I can do is get great ideas and great settings from people from the community, the Quad Cortex community, that are uploading their presets and uploading their captures and that kind of stuff onto the Cortex Cloud for you to share. This is a great idea. I also have uploaded stuff and shared stuff, and it's being downloaded. It's great. I think it's a great addition to the Quad Cortex, because yeah, you can go out, you not only have the amps that are already in here, but there's captures of amps that, you know, you wouldn't even dream of owning because of how expensive they are, or, you know, because of how difficult they can be to get to. But the Quad Cortex at the moment, without its marketplace, allows you to download it and use it. Now, you won't be able to use it to its full capabilities. I'm not saying that now all guitar companies and that should be worried and thinking about their business model, but it's just a really cool place to be. And so, yeah, I believe it might change soon. There's certainly a push for it to change, and there will be a marketplace where you do buy captures and you do buy, scenes, and you buy presets and that kind of stuff. And that'll be good, and I'm sure they'll be great. Like, I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing if this marketplace comes in. All I'll say is that it will change. And at the present, it's really cool as a consumer to go in and just try out some stuff for free without having to purchase, something on top of what you already have. This is different to a lot of technological advancements. You go out and you buy a new smartphone, you need to download new apps, and then you have to get a subscription model and all this kind of stuff. At the moment, the Quad Cortex, you buy the device, and if you've got everything to sort of power it on the outside, you've got your speakers and your cabs and all that kind of stuff, and you're kind of ready to go in that sense. If you want to get different sounds out of it, at the moment, it's you use what you have, or you can download new stuff for free, which is really cool. So I'd say at the moment, having no marketplace is actually could be a good reason why to get one for 2023. Reason number 3 for purchasing a Quad Cortex or getting a Quad Cortex for 2023 is actually the ease of captures. Now, I know a lot of people have said that I've said this already, that the Quad Cortex is one of the easiest devices in order to capture the sounds of an amp. It takes 5 minutes, not even in some cases, especially if you're doing with pedals, and then you can just start playing, and it's really cool. The setup is so easy. You're just using a couple of cables, and you can capture your favorite amp, your favorite pedals, specifically overdrive pedals at the moment, and put them in your Quad Cortex and then ready to go. Now, because of its form factor as well, it does mean that you can just put stuff on here, create a chain, create a rig, and then start playing live. Presently, there's no desktop editor. There has been talk from Neural DSP that will be added soon. It is a user request. I will say, at the moment, whilst it'd be nice to have, it's not needed to operate the Quad Cortex. So you can just get on this, tap the screen, change a few dials, and you can get going. You don't need to plug this into a laptop or a computer, tweak all the stuff, and then download it. And get it going. You can literally just have this, even during a gig, on the floor in front of you. You can tap the screen, change the tone or the drive or the gain on your pedal or your amp, and it will change instantly. There's no need to plug into a computer to get stuff to change, which does allow, there is some setup to do, but it's not a long-winded process where you're changing stuff and it takes an hour to create a rig, and then you get to a gig and you realize that you need to change some of the sound and it doesn't sound all that good. You can do all that at the gig, and using your cloud captures and your saves and that kind of stuff, you can download previous settings if you have saved some in the cloud and you've changed it. So that's another reason, I think, for it to be a good purchase for this year. Now, the next reason is it's quite a general claim, really, for not only the Quad Cortex, but any sort of system that is very much like it. But the ease of this to move around compared to my old rig, it's so much easier. So in my old rig, I would be taking a cab, the amp head, I would be taking a pedal board, I'd take a guitar, actually take 2 guitars, and then I'd have all the cables, and then there's a PA system, microphones, and all that kind of stuff on top. But just my guitar stuff alone, it added up to quite a bit, and moving that in the vehicle and out of the vehicle and downstairs and upstairs, and that kind of stuff makes it a laborious task. So nowadays I can just take this, usually on a smaller pedal board, in a smaller bag, take my 2 guitars, and then I do have a little backup amp as well, but it's quite small. It's just the Hughes and Kettner amp man, and then I'm good to go. I can get through gigs and multiple, if any issues were to come up, I would be fine. If something happened to this, something happened to the amp man, I can you know, I think it'd be pretty rare for two things to go wrong in one gig. And yeah, sometimes I'll take my little head rush monitor with me as well for a gig, but it's not a necessity with in-ear monitors and plugging into the front of house and that kind of stuff. So yeah, just the ease for playing live and sounding great. Definitely a good year to buy the Quad Cortex or something similar. Reason number 5 to get a Quad Cortex or similar is actually probably the most controversial part. Again, quite a global thing. I'm thinking not just the Quad Cortex, but for all of these systems. But actually the value of this is so good. Like, now I know what you might think, and you're like, Brad, you're insane. That cost, you know, over $2,000. It did. It's an expensive entry point. However, you want a decent amp right now, you're going to be paying that amount for one amp. The new Mesa Boogie amp that we Quad Cortex users got this year, if you were to go on Reverb and look for it, you're looking at over $6,000 just for the amp head. And so the fact that I got this for only just over $2,000, I suppose it's close to $3,000. Yes, it's expensive in that sense, but you know, I could have bought 2 of these for the price of that one amp. Now you could look at, like, you know, the trade-in value and all that kind of stuff in the future, like what will be and what will come. But you know, I have that amp in here. I have a bunch of other amps in here. There's Marshall's, you know, JCM 900s, Silver Jubilees. There's hundreds of Fender amps in here. There's Soldanos, Friedmans, all these different kind of amps that are already built into the Quad Cortex, and that's not including the ones that you can capture on the cloud. So yeah, even in some of my saved presets, I have a 2-Rock Bloomfield and some matchless amps too. I would not have access to those without paying a lot of money. You know, 2-Rocks can probably, I think they even start at like $6,000. So they're pretty expensive, and the fact that I can sort of play one, it might not sound exactly like, you know, the 2-Rock amp, but the fact is that it can get very, very close. I know this because I've actually played through a 2-Rock as well. A couple of weeks ago, my friend has one. Yeah, his setup was a lot of money. Mine was a lot of money too, but considerably less. But yeah, the value of this is insane. You know, the different effects, and there's more to come. And in other modelers and that kind of stuff, there's a ton more settings. And I'm not just saying this for the Quad Cortex as that it's good value, because I personally believe it is, but there is a lot of good value product out there for 2023. This one is getting regularly upgraded. I'm using this one a lot. And yeah, sometimes we'd like the upgrades to come a little bit quicker, but you can't fault the upgrades that they've already put in here. And I'm excited for what's coming this year, and also into next year and the year after and that kind of stuff too. Is it the end of my guitar purchases? Absolutely not. What it is though is just a fantastic piece of equipment for the cost of like a high-end amp, but you get several high-end amps in it. So yeah, a great value purchase, I would say. That was 5 of my reasons as to why I think the Quad Cortex would be a good purchase for 2023. I'm sure there's a lot more out there. I definitely recommend it. I've had this now for 4 months, and it's been fantastic value, a great setup, a great community, and a great product. So definitely, if you're on the fence, have a look, have a play around if you can, and maybe I'll see your profile on the Quad Cortex Cloud at some point. If you liked this Quad Cortex video, you want to see more Quad Cortex videos, discussions, playthroughs, and even some guitar lessons with song playthroughs and that kind of stuff, then give me a like and a subscribe. It really helps the channel. I'd like to thank everybody that's already done that. It's been fantastic. I can't believe like a couple of videos that I've already put together have had several thousand views, which is just absolutely awesome. And yeah, for me to continue doing this, it'd be really helpful for me, for this channel, and I guess for the community, with all the questions that have already been brought forward, and that would be really good. I answer any question that you guys may have. I also comment on every comment too. So please continue doing that if you've already done it. But also if you haven't, yeah, just give us a like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.